All right, let's bring you now the coffee chat session. And government is spending millions of rand on temporary housing structures that residents are rejecting. Now, the two-room shacks are made from corrugated iron and they stand on raised bricks. But on a visit to Talana, that's in Tzaneen, earlier this month, the eNCA arrived to shoddy workmanship. Limpopo Premier Stan Mathabatha shifted the blame at the time after a public outcry and a backlash. So, who is to blame for this disaster? Let's speak now to Yonela Diko, who is the spokesperson for the Human Settlements Minister, Lindiwe Sisulu. And we also have Isaac Mahlangu, who is a senior reporter of the Sowetan newspaper. Gentlemen, to the two of you, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. Let me start with you, Isaac. You were the first one to report on this story. Take us back to what the Limpopo government said was the reason or justification why they had to erect these structures.
Thank you, Xoli. Well, at the time, what they said was this was a project of the National Department, the Department of Human Settlements. So what they had done, they had to just identify deserving communities for this temporary arrangement. Basically, this was meant to ensure that overcrowded informal settlements are de-densified to help government fight this COVID-19 pandemic. So that's the reason we got from them.
All right.
And we also,
Let me also cut in there for a moment. Because of time constraints, I'm going to rush you a little bit. So tell us then, at the time when you got there, how much you were told each unit cost the Limpopo government?
Well, they had spent 2.4 million for 40 structures. So meaning each unit had cost them 64,000 rand each.
All right. Now, let's bring in Yonela Diko into the conversation. Yonela, you've heard from Isaac there. First, confirm for us if the exact same structures have now been erected right here in the Gauteng province, in the area of Mamelodi.
Well, not necessarily the exact same structures, in the sense that there are a couple of missteps that had happened in the Talana project. Firstly, there's poor workmanship according to an engineering expert company that has been sent by HTA. And of course, we've just received now a report from NHBRC, which is responsible for quality assurance of structures, which is telling us a couple of more issues that are problematic with the Talana project. But I want
tell me, Mr. Diko, so you're saying that it's not exactly the same structures, but they are of a similar nature. Tell us the reasons why the National Department of Human Settlements is erecting these structures. Why do you feel it necessary to erect them?
Okay, so when the minister decided at the beginning of April that one of the key interventions of this department would focus on the upgrading of informal settlement program, try to fast track it, because those are the most vulnerable people as far as high density areas, most likely to be infected. So we needed to de-densify the program. So what the minister did was to then,
All right. How much is a unit costing the Human Settlements Department on the structures that are in Mamelodi?
Now, the quantum for these structures, quantum, which is, it's 64,000 a unit. So
why
quantum
is that?
Meaning that is the maximum you can cost. Now, let me make an example for you, Xoli. You know, when the Human Settlement Coronavirus Council which has been set up by the minister, to look at the options of what we can build in the shortest possible time. A lot of ideas were put across sitting with experts. In fact, one of the ideas that were put was using, you know, there's this emerging housing project of container containers, which is the shipping container houses, which is the new emerging construction around the world. Then people checked. Let's check how much each container costs, for example, which is corrugated iron. It can last for 99 years. It's strong. Each container actually costs 109,000. So I think the lack of public participation in this project has missed an opportunity for the departments and the construction companies and the implementing agencies to bring in 1,000 people in a hall. We've got a project for you.
Mr.
This
Diko.
is how much it costs. These are the options. So I think there's been a missed opportunity there.
Mr. Diko, are you saying that the structures that are now being erected in Mamelodi are actual containers? It's not corrugated iron being
No. Well, I was
together.
making an example of how much corrugated
Also,
iron
it's
costs.
an example, so it's not. It's not containers. So let's be clear then. Let's be clear then. Let's be clear. This conversation is getting a bit too messy, but let's be clear. How much is the Human Settlements Department paying per unit?
64,000 quantum maximum.
All right. Isaac, let's bring you into the conversation. You went and you found a company whose business for the last 18 years is to build corrugated iron structures that look of a similar nature. How much is a unit costing, according to that company?
According to Tsepiso Fast Zozo, which also delivers nationwide, a one-bedroom structure or a one-room shack would set you back around 4.7. And then while a two-bedroom structure will cost you around 6,400, and the maximum or the biggest structure that they build, which is a three-room shack, would set you back around 8,300.
Mr. Diko, you've heard those figures. The structures you are building, the way I understand it, they are two-room structures, and at most, they should be costing the department just above 6,000 rand. Why are you willing to waste taxpayers' money paying upwards of 64,000 rand?
Well, let me be clear. First of all, the implementing agency, HTA, had been very clear that these structures that are being built, they are transitional and can be used by different. When you de-densify and you build structures, a different set of people can then use these structures. They have a lasting lifespan of 99 years. So they can be used by generations. They are strong.
Mr. Diko, please do not insult our intelligence. The people in Limpopo, where Isaac went to cover this story, they told our team, because we went and followed thereafter, they told our team that these structures are already collapsing. There is no ablution facilities. What in the world is costing the department 64,000 about these units?
Yeah, this is why I said that if you delineate the Talana structure from the Mamelodi one, then you will get a sense of what went wrong in the Talana project. Firstly, as we said that in July 29th, the province sent a letter to the implementing agent who is responsible for construction to say we would like to present these structures the following day. Now, that is wrong because, firstly, the implementing agency has the responsibility for the structure until they say they are complete. They have the full service, which is water, sanitation, pollution, and so on, and they have been checked by NHBRC for quality assurance. Then it hands it over to the province. So there were a lot of steps that were missed, rushed work, and of course, even some issues. The flooring, the doors, the windows. So there was a bit of a rush from the province in trying to present this project. For whatever reasons, maybe they felt that people needed to be moved. So in the Talana project, there were a lot of steps that were missed. But as for the standard that has been set for these TRUs, you can go around the world to check TRUs, transitional structures that have a lifespan that we're talking about, that are strong, that are durable for family members that can sit in.
All right.
You will realize that this is the standard.
All right. Final question to you. We have to close this now. The Minister of Human Settlements, Lindiwe Sisulu, I understand, is either launching these Pretoria structures or these Mamelodi structures, or she is going to still go and officially open them. Is she willing to put her name next to those very structures?
Look, firstly, let me.
No, we're out of time, Mr. Diko. Is the Minister of Human Settlements willing to go to Pretoria, to those Mamelodi structures, and say, this is what my department and myself are willing to put our names next to, because these structures are going to last for 99 years?
The minister is going to go to Mamelodi, inspect the structures. If she feels they meet the standards that we set, she will put a seal on them.
All right. Isaac, are you surprised at all that these structures are mushrooming now in Pretoria, as is being justified here today by Yonela Diko?
I think it's quite baffling, given the fact that these are presented as temporary structures. Yet, at the same time, when you look at the cost, then it's understandable that there's been so much public uproar about them. Because if really a permanent solution would cost you, because government now pays between 100 and 139,000 for a permanent solution, why invest 64,000 for a temporary solution? And why do you need a structure that would last you 100 years while it's supposed to be a temporary solution? I think those are the questions that we still have.
Gentlemen, I thank to the both of you for giving me your time this morning. Well, you are the taxpayer, and perhaps you may have an opinion on this, but it would appear that government is pressing ahead. They want these structures to continue. The minister, as you heard, is now building a new set of these very similar structures that were found in Limpopo.